Unfortunately, it's a common scenario. An older relative suddenly becomes confused, dizzy, or depressed.
Often the trigger isn't their age, it's what's in their drug cabinet. The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin is here now to tell us more about it. Beth.
And Amanda and Russ, seniors are taking a lot of medication for a lot of different medical problems. One survey found that people in their late 60s are taking on average 14 medications a year, and by their 80s, they're taking 18 drugs. And Billy Reeves of Griffin says he can believe it because he was taking even more than that. At 87, Billy Reeves is still pretty comfortable climbing behind the wheel.
I'm in very good shape, I really am.
But a few years ago, in his late 70s, Reeves nearly gave up driving because he says he started feeling confused and anxious.
I got to the point I was afraid to drive, literally afraid to drive. And I only drove to work and back, and that's all I drove, and it was still scary.
Reeves says he deteriorated quickly from an independent guy who'd been running his Griffin dry cleaning business for more than 60 years to somebody who felt like his life was shutting down. He couldn't think clearly, couldn't remember things. Some days he says it was hard to stand up because his balance was off.
I was in real bad shape, I really was.
So what was happening?
Are you using the 25?
Reeves asked consultant pharmacist Armon Neel, an expert on drugs and drug interactions, to sit down with him and take a look at the medications he was taking.
When he came to me, he was up in the 20s of drugs.
And Reeves says his doctor had just handed him another prescription.
But I said, "Doctor, I'm over-medicated. I'm taking all of this stuff." He says, "You're not over-medicated. I know what I'm doing."
But Neel, author of Are Your Prescriptions Killing You?, says too often doctors prescribe drugs to older patients without thinking about adverse drug reactions and side effects, even though it's not unusual for seniors to be taking a dozen or more drugs prescribed by various doctors.
The most I've had from one single physician on one patient was 57 drugs.
Neel made a list of every medication Reeves was taking, what side effects it could cause, and how it might interact with other drugs he was on. He says too often medication-related problems like depression and confusion and dizziness and falls are overlooked as signs of aging.
I could see what so many of these things were doing, but yet my doctor would not change it or anything.
Billy Reeves found a new doctor, and Neel helped him taper off the drugs he was on.
I averaged about a 74% reduction in the amount of drugs I take.
It took a while, but he finally got me off of the majority of them, and it wasn't too long that I began to feel all these problems going away.
And today, Billy Reeves is back to feeling like his old self. No more confusion, no more anxiety. And he says he will never again take a pill without first asking some questions. And if you're concerned about the medication you're taking, first talk to your doctor or talk to your pharmacist about it. In Billy Reeves' case, it was really not safe for him to abruptly stop taking any of his medications, so he had to gradually taper off of it. And the American Geriatric Society has a list of medications that may be especially risky for seniors, and we are going to have a link to that list on our website, myfoxatlanta.com. Amanda and Russ?
Yeah, you can see how if you're taking that many medications, it would be hard to know which one is causing the side effects.
Yes, and often when they're seniors, they have multiple health problems and several doctors that they're seeing, and sometimes nobody's steering the ship.
57?
Yeah.
That's hard to imagine.
All right, Beth, thanks very much. Well.